Hi everybody, it's Mark Boardman. It's the second video I'm recording tonight. It's Wednesday the 26th of September. The last video I did was just to compare and contrast some trades from today's trading room, where I was looking at trades that were signalled and others that were not, using the FX trend rider strategy. This video is really just to summarise the videos taken so far this week. If we have a quick look here, on Tuesday there was only one trade. I was talking too much in the trading room. I had a lot of slides to go through, so I only took one trade. It was a loss-making trade, lost 30 pips. It was the US dollar versus the Swiss franc. Let me show you where I got the signal from. That was off this fat man here, and if you can see here, we've got the Swiss franc, the white line, hitting the floor and bouncing back. Right, this is the FX trend catcher strategy. At that point in time, the US dollar was also sinking down here, so that was a US dollar weakening and a Swiss franc strengthening. That suggested a 1 hour short, and here we had the signal. This is where the US dollar versus the Swiss franc started to weaken. The issue is, and this does happen, folks, the US dollar then turned back and the Swiss franc turned back, and that's where you get stopped out. Alright, so around about 50% of the time this happens. The good news is that in relative terms, 30 pips on a 1 hour chart is nothing, and what you're looking for is to make sure that the other half the time that you do get the trends, such as down here, you do ride those trends and you get your pips, so that your average pips profit is greater than your average pips loss. And that's the key to my strategy. Now, for the rest of the week, in other words, today, basically Wednesday, there were 3 trades. There was one here I was talking about at the very start of the room. It was a euro versus the Australian dollar. We had a signal here. Let me just check. That was the 1 hour fat man, so that was here. As you can see here, we've got the FX trend catcher strategy again kicking in. We've got the Australian dollar hitting the floor. That's the thing you'll notice about this system I use. These currencies cannot stay too strong or too weak for any period of time in any time frame. So when this Australian dollar hits the floor, we stalk it. As it happens, this green line, which is the euro, happened to be sinking south just as this was bouncing off the floor. So if we look at that euro Aussie, this is where we got the signal. Alright, now as it happens, I didn't time this correctly, so I only looked at the market as it were around about here, but that was absolutely fine, because when we get a pullback, we call that the trend rider strategy, and that's when we get back into the market when it pulls back. And as you can see, the market came down here and we got stopped out with this fairly sharp move upwards, and it stopped above the red cross, which was our signal to get out of the trade, and that was a 27 pip profit. Then of the trades I was talking about towards the end of the room here, we had the Kiwi on a 15-minute fat man, so I was looking for some short-term trades here. And what we had, if we can look here, I've been told, by the way, not to keep hovering this cursor around too much, so I'll try not to. But if you can see this dark blue line here, this is the trend rider strategy, not trend catcher. Now this is when we see two currencies heading in the opposite direction, like this here. We've got the light blue line heading down, we've got the white line heading down, and we've got the dark blue line heading up. So that's the Kiwi there heading up, and we have the US dollar heading down and the Swiss franc heading down. So that's basically a Kiwi US dollar long and a Kiwi Swiss franc long. Alright, and this is trend rider. So with trend rider, what we do is we wait for a pullback. This is where the sharp lines start to incline. We wait for the market to pull back. When it pulls back, we put a pending order in to enter. Hopefully my cursor was showing you this here, to enter here as it goes back above this high, and that's the trade that we get. The trend rider strategy stopped out here below the green cross. Similarly with the Kiwi versus the Swiss franc, we had this pullback here, so this is where the lines start to incline. right? Trend rider, we're waiting for a pullback. That's what we want, and then we enter the market when it clears the highs of this pullback here, and up it goes and stopped out up here. So that's where we got a 12 pip profit on the Kiwi Swiss franc and 25 pips on the Kiwi dollar. So far for the week up 34 pips. So for those of you that haven't seen any of my videos before, basically I use two strategies, very simple. I use a currency strength indicator here. Looks a bit complicated when you look at it, but it's very simple to use. And I look at these lines, and I have two strategies using these lines. Once I get a signal from the lines, I then actually go to the chart here, and I use something called volume price analysis. I wait for 3 greens or 3 reds. So if I'm looking to go long, I need green volume here. This is Forex volume, by the way, you won't get it anywhere else. Then you have something called a heat map in the middle, and then you have your trend dots here, and when they all line up, I pull the trigger. Okay, now I need to update the spreadsheet. That'll take me to about 510 pips profit so far in the last 6 weeks. So we're averaging about 90 between 90 and 100 pips profit per week using these strategies. Now if you would like to find out, join my free trading room, actually all you need to do is register by going on to hawkeyemt4.com. There's the website. You're on it now, in fact, if you're watching this video, unless you're on my YouTube channel, because a lot of people do watch these videos on my YouTube channel. So that's hawkeyemt4. You can email me, by the way, anytime at mark@hawkeyemt4.com if you've got any questions. But all you need to do is, if you put your email address in here and your first and last name here and press submit, you'll then get an email from me. You must then confirm that you want me to send you trading room registration links. So you get an email from me, you click the link in that email, that will then confirm you to my email list, and I'll then be able to follow up and give you links to all the free trading rooms. Okay, so thanks for listening today, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, bye.